more feminine, to shave or go au natural? Hello everyone, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the star of your own life. I want to talk to you about feminine energy and hair. This might be an odd topic, but I feel like it's something that comes up a lot. And if you've been following along with my channel, I used to be a beauty blogger, and I've kind of transitioned into talking about masculine, feminine energies and relationship dynamics and things like that. But I have been doing a little bit of an update on my favorite beauty products. I've been switching to a lot of clean beauty products, and I have videos on here with my clean makeup favorites, clean skincare favorites, clean hair care favorites, and I did have some requests to talk about hair removal. And I have a ton of videos on my channel from back when I was beauty blogging about hair removal and different aspects of hair removal. The biggest myth about hair removal that drives me up a wall, that would be that your hair will grow back thicker, fuller, and darker if you shave, which is so false. And I know people are going to start arguing with me in the comments that that's true. It is false. It is scientifically impossible. And I do have a video where I explain why that's impossible. Those videos are still up on my channel, so if you want to check those out, I'll link those to this video. But I did want to get into a little bit about different options for hair removal, and also the concept of hair and feminine energy, because I do feel like that's kind of a hot topic, and it's actually a hot topic even more now. Now, I have a video talking about the current 4B movement, where a lot of women are rejecting men, and one of the things that they're doing is shaving their heads. And I do find it interesting that culturally in history, when women have decided to reject men, or in some cultures when a woman gets married, she shaves her head to not attract other men to her. In some cultures in the past, when women become nuns or dedicate themselves to religion, they shave their heads. And I just find it interesting that hair has become such a symbol of how women attract men, because if you think about it, like, there's a lot of other aspects to a woman's body that are considered sexual to men. I mean, you hear about men being like boob men or butt men or whatever. You don't think of men as being like hair men. But when it comes to like the hair on your head, it does seem like when women decide to reject men, one of the go-tos would be to shave their head. Now, look, if you want to shave your head, or for some reason you need to shave your head for some reason, I think women can be absolutely stunning with bald heads. I mean, I think, you know, I mean, Amber Rose has pulled off bald for years. Demi Moore has gone bald. Jada Pinkett, like, they're beautiful women, and they've looked beautiful with hair and without hair. So I'm not at all sitting here and saying that women have to have long hair in order to be attracted to men or anything like that. I do feel like there are a lot of like femininity coaches that tell women, like, you know, you should have long hair, you should have, you know, like, that tell women how to structure their physical appearance to be the most appealing to men. If any of you are familiar with my content, you know this, but if you're new to my content, welcome. I don't really think of feminine energy in terms of sort of a superficial stereotype. I think of it more as like something that you embody within you. So I think you could be a bald woman, you could look very manly, but you could still embody a feminine energy. You could also look very girly and very like classically feminine, and also embody a lot of masculine energy. Like, I think it's an energy and it's deeper within us than just the surface. It is interesting that there are a lot of, I think, like femininity coaches that focus a lot on the surface, that will tell women to have long hair, to have like their hair styled a certain way, or things like that. I see it a lot in femininity coaches that target Black women, that will tell them that they need to have weaves or extensions and stuff, that they shouldn't have their hair natural or things like that, because it becomes about a lot of a superficial appearance. I do also see on the other side of a lot of like sort of feminine energy coaches and feminine energy embodiment teachers who focus a lot more on the natural. So they'll tell women to just like not do anything to their hair, head, or body, and like just letting everything grow natural, letting everything be completely natural, and like not trimming or shaving or styling their hair or anything, and just like being so all natural. I don't think any of those things is right or wrong. Now, my version of feminine energy is for women to feel into their bodies and feel what feels good for them. If that's going on natural, great. If that's, you know, going full on styled and everything, great. If it's somewhere in the middle, that's great too. It's all about embodying what feels good to you. So I have a video going into my favorite hair care products and things like that. So I'm not going to dive into as much the hair on your head in this video, but I do think that how you wear your hair, how you style your hair, I honestly think it's whatever feels good for you. You know, I get people that want to say things to me like, well, you know, when I say that women shouldn't be catering to men, they'll be like, well, why do you bleach your hair? Honestly, I feel like myself when I bleach my hair. I've had my hair like other colors in the past and I don't look in the mirror and feel like me. So that's why I choose to do it. It's not to cater to men, and I will tell you, I've dated men that did not like that I bleached my hair. They've tried to convince me to go back to my natural color or to go darker or something, and it just doesn't feel authentically me. So I usually just end up getting rid of the guy. So at the end of the day, like, I'm a big proponent in actually figuring out like what feels good for you. If having your hair be completely natural feels good for you, do it. If having your hair styled, if, you know, wearing extensions or something feels good for you, that's fine too. Like, I could not wear extensions. This is my hair and I could not wear extensions because it would literally just, I don't have the patience for them. I really don't. But like, if that feels good for you, do it. But what feels good for you? Like, what are you gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna say, you know what, I feel great. Like, that's what I encourage you to do. And honestly, I feel the same way when it comes to body hair. Now, I do feel like body hair gets a little bit complicated because, well, a lot of it's cultural. I have some men argue about, you know, women shaving or women not shaving and things like that, and like what's feminine and what's not. And to be honest, it's a completely cultural thing. There are some cultures where women having like a lot of body hair is like a sign of fertility or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and in some cultures, being completely hairless is considered a sign of the beauty standard. So beauty standards are completely cultural. So the idea of like what is feminine and what's not really does depend on your culture. I'm a big proponent in doing what feels good for you. Now, I do realize that unfortunately a lot of our beauty standards and our cultural standards when it comes to anything really, but in this case talking about body hair, can come from some really unhealthy places. Unfortunately, things like porn culture have actually normalized women being hairless for the sake of trying to infantilize women in order to kind of program people into thinking that, I'm trying to say this in a way that YouTube won't get me blocked, but I think you guys know where I'm getting at with that, to try to make women look, you know what I mean? There's roots in that, which I think can get complicated. And I've seen, like, I've been in a lot of women's groups and stuff where there's a lot of women who've been saying that they want to like reject the idea of shaving and waxing and being hairless, and they want to grow their body hair because it makes them feel more connected to like their wild woman, and it makes them feel more feminine to do that. And I honor that. And I think some women just don't want to do that, and some women still want to keep up with regular, you know, hair removal and things like that. I honor that too. I just firmly believe that feminine energy and connecting to feminine energy is actually about feeling what's good in your body. I actually also believe that feminine energy is sensuality and sexuality. If you as a woman feel like growing out your hair, whether it be anywhere, one area of your body, you know, maybe you shave your legs but you don't shave your bikini line or something like that, or whatever, or some variation on it, or maybe you just, you know, go all natural and just let your hair grow wherever. It's personal choice. And I feel like if that feels good in your body and that feels like sensual to you, because I think there are some women who just, I've seen women say that like growing out kind of like their hair and their bikini line and things like that has made them feel more like primal. More power to you, like, great. Personally, and this is just my preference, like nothing feels more sensual to me than like freshly shaven legs. I love how my skin feels when I've just shaved my legs, and it just feels so sensual, and like everything I touch just feels like when I stick my legs in like clean cotton sheets with freshly shaved legs, it's like literally like one of the most sensual experiences for me. It wouldn't feel as sensual to let my leg hair grow. I feel like everything feels more sensitive to the touch, like fabrics feel nicer on my skin when I have freshly shaven legs or things like that. That represents sensuality for me. I go very long stretches of time where I'm single and not in a relationship. I have videos talking about this, but I'm consciously celibate right now, so nobody's touching my legs. I still shave my legs because it just feels so good, and it feels good to me. If you feel good with your legs or your body or somewhere in your body growing more hair, and that feels like sensual, maybe it feels like primal and you're a wild woman or something, go for it. And I think that when we start getting into the idea of making the decision for ourselves and what feels really good for us and in our body, and we stop focusing on what society tells us is beautiful or what men prefer or something like that, I just think women are going to make better decisions for them, and we're going to feel better in our bodies. And some of that might be trial and error. Like some of that might be, you know, trying out something. Maybe you want to grow out some hair for a little while and just see how it feels, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't, and then you can just shave it or something like that. But I think it's separating ourselves from what society tells us we should look like, and also separating ourselves from like what men prefer and figuring out what we prefer. I gotta be honest with you, I mean, I will admit in my years that I've been around and I've talked to men and had interactions with men and things like that, I do think that more men tend to like women that remove body hair. But I have known men over the years, like not necessarily guys that I dated per se, but guys that I've talked to over the years who found, you know, women growing out body hair and stuff to be very sexual and very primal. And I think some of that is a cultural thing. I think that's personal preference. But I think that, you know, everyone's gonna have a preference, but if you as a woman like feel better one way or the other, you want to attract a man who actually like is attractive to you in a way that makes your body feel the best. You know what I mean? So if you feel good shaving or you feel good not shaving or something, you want to be with a partner that is attracted to you in the way that you feel the best in your body. So if you just embody that now, you know, if you are looking to attract a partner, you're gonna attract a partner who likes the way you look in a way that makes you feel the best, and not a partner who's just picking you because you fit some kind of societal beauty standard. So there could be a lot of debate about like what's feminine and what's not. Superficial femininity aspect, it can be like, let's make sure everything is all completely hair free. And I think sometimes in the more like spiritual feminine energy, it can be like, let's get back to nature and have everything be completely natural and let our hair grow. And neither of those things is right or wrong. I think it's just really what feels right for you. And as much as I tend to fall a little bit more into the sort of like natural primal aspect, and I spend a lot more time connecting to my wild woman and stuff, I feel more sensual for me when I actually remove most of my body hair. For me. That might not feel right for you. And if it doesn't, that's great. Knowing that about yourself is beautiful. And I think letting go of that need to conform to what the beauty standard is or what society tells you should do, and just honoring what feels good for you and what feels like really sensual and sexy and a turn on for you in your body, I think is the best thing. So that's what I would encourage. I have a lot of videos talking about like hair removal and different things like that. To be honest with you, like my go-to is just shaving. I have tried waxing. I don't like waxing because I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I don't work in a salon or anything anymore. And I've only actually done, like in a salon, I've done like eyebrow and like lip waxing and stuff. I can't do eyebrow waxing because my skin is way too sensitive. It just doesn't work. So I just tweeze my eyebrows. But for me, honestly, like I shave as a go-to. I have some videos on here like reviewing some shaving products and things like that. I just shave with coconut oil. For me, that's just worked the best. I don't like waxing, for one, because it's painful. And it's also like you have to let the hair grow out. And I don't like that transition phase of like letting the hair grow out and then pulling it out. And for me, I just don't like it. And back when I did it, I used to actually do it on myself, and I used to get the worst ingrown hairs. It was just terrible. So I just find shaving to be a better option for me. I did do laser hair removal, which I do love. I'll actually link the place where I got it down below if you guys want to check out. I think they're a chain, so I think they have multiple locations, but if you happen to be like the Massachusetts area, I'll link it below. It's the same place I got Cool Sculpting done, which I have a video talking about doing that back in the day. Staff has always been wonderful and everything. I did get the laser hair removal treatments, but I was actually doing like an at-home laser hair removal, which I have a review of the product that I used to do that, which I don't even know if that still exists anymore. But I was doing that myself, and then I went in to get professional treatments. I think the professional treatments I got actually worked quicker because I'd already done the at-home treatments. But I found I actually didn't even finish all my laser hair removal treatments because I was getting them done like just before COVID, and then COVID happened, so I didn't finish them, but I didn't really need to go back and do them. My armpits, I don't really think anything grows there anymore. I do kind of go over them with a razor when I shave just out of habit, but I don't really need to. And if I happen to go a while without shaving, they don't really grow in. Armpit hair is up to you. There in some cultures, women don't shave under their armpits, so like I think it's your choice. I personally can't imagine not shaving under my armpits. I think I get so sweaty that I just couldn't imagine not doing it. Like the feeling of it just would not feel good for me. Again, that's not a judgment. It's just how it feels for me. I think you have to do what's right for you. I also did laser hair removal on my armpits, which worked really well on my bikini line. I do get some hairs that still grow on my bikini line here and there, but not a ton. I do know that there's a lot of women who like, it kind of became a trend to kind of like grow out your pubic hair and stuff, and became more primal, and mine doesn't really fully grow out. It's just some hairs here and there, which is fine for me because it's just like, again, I like the sensuality of feeling the smooth skin. If you like the sensuality of feeling more primal and having there be hair there, more power to you. I think it's personal preference. I do feel very conflicted with the hairless concept, with the connection of porn culture and what it represents and stuff like that. So it is a conflict for me. I just personally like the sensuality of feeling the smooth skin. It's just my own preference. And I don't think anything is right or wrong. I just think you have to do what feels good for you and what feels sensual for you, and not spend time focused on like what men find attractive. If you are looking to heal your sort of need for male attention and male validation, or you are feeling like you maybe want to try something a little bit different, but you're afraid of what men are going to think, or you know, or something like that, I highly recommend you check out my Recovering Pick Me Girl guided journal. Most of us as women have some kind of like pick me energy. Sometimes it's extreme, but sometimes it's just mild, and it might come up in everyday life, like deciding whether or not to shave your legs or something like that. And this will just help you work through some of those things. I highly recommend you check that out. And I will link below the place that I got my laser hair removal. I didn't find it super painful, but you know, I mean, it wasn't the most pleasant thing in the world, but it wasn't terrible. Not everybody can get laser hair removal. I was a pretty good candidate because I do have like, my natural hair color is brown. Shh, don't tell anyone. I just got my hair done, so my roots aren't coming in yet. But my natural hair color is brown, and I am very pale. So that contrast between like having darker hair and lighter skin is ideal for laser hair removal. If you have really pale skin and really light hair, not as good. And if you have darker skin, I think they have come a long way in laser hair removal. So if you do have darker skin and you want to look into laser hair removal, I would look into it. But last I knew, which has been a while since I've looked into it, but last I knew, it's tricky when you have darker skin and like darker hair. Lighter skin with darker hair is ideal because that's kind of how the laser finds the hair follicle. So I do have a review of kind of like electric razors, like electric shavers on here, and the one that I really loved, I don't know if you can even get anymore. That's one of the reasons why I couldn't keep doing like beauty blogging, is because I'd fall in love with the product and then like the company would shut down, or they would change the product and it wouldn't be as good or something like that. So I do have an electric shaver that I use sometimes to like get rid of just like errant hairs here and there, but I don't know if it's actually still available. Mostly I just use like organic coconut oil, because I've tried different types of oils and I found coconut oil was the best. And just like a razor, I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this before, but I have noticed that razors don't last as long. Like the quality of like women's razors is not as good as it used to be. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but I've noticed that. I think like a lot of products nowadays are not as good a quality. I used to have like razors that would last me forever, and I just have to change the blades, and I've been having to like replace my razors a lot more often. And it's my go-to, but again, like what works for you, I think is just like personal preference. And I don't want you to get so caught up in like what I should do, like what femininity coaches are telling you, or what, you know, sort of more spiritual, energetic coaches are telling you, or something like that. Like feel into what feels good for you and your body, because honestly, like connecting to your intuition and feeling into what feels good and what feels right for you and what makes you feel the best in your body, that's the key to connecting to your feminine energy. It's not about a superficial appearance. It's not about like trying to emulate what some coach or teacher or, you know, mentor or something is telling you. It's about feeling into your body and feeling what makes you feel good. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that, because it does seem like it's a bit of a conversation now, with there being women who are sort of shaving their head to reject men. A lot of femininity coaches are telling you, you know, that you have to have fake hair or something like that in order to catch a man. Conversations about should you have body hair, shouldn't you have body hair, things like that. Yeah, I just wanted to address some of those things. I think it's really all what works for you, and figuring out what makes you feel good, because that's the best way to honor your feminine energy. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give me a big thumbs up, and be sure you subscribe to my channel. Comment below, let me know what you think of hair removal or any other questions, or even clean beauty questions or feminine energy questions, or any kind of questions you want. Any engagement on this channel actually really does help boost it in the algorithm, and more people can get some of these lessons. So I will leave details to anything I mentioned in the video in the description box. You can also check out my guided journal. Details to that will be in the description box below, with long links to, you know, courses, masterclasses, and all my social media links. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.